Welcome back to the Kennedy Crusade. I'm Dr. Pat, your humble host, and today we're going to talk about stress. I'm probably going to stress you out a little bit about talking about this stress because it is the silent killer. National Institute of Health says that 91% of all disease can be traced back to its origin in stress. Yikes, that's a lot. We only have a 9% chance of having our disease associated with something else. So 91% of all disease, that's a big number. And the neuroscientists have said that about 100 years ago, our ancestors would have a certain amount of stress events for their entire lifetime. They totaled them all up. I don't know how they figured that out, but anyway, so they got a number of how many stress events for an entire lifetime. They're saying people today are experiencing the same amount of stress events that took an entire lifetime to accumulate. We're experiencing those in 2 days. Not good. The brain cannot keep up with the amount of stress. That's why I think 91% of all diseases have their roots in stress. So what happens when our brain and nervous system sense stress or perceive it, whether it's real or imagined? And here's the kicker. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a real stress or an imagined stress. And what I mean by that is when you have a very vivid dream at nighttime and a bear is chasing you and getting ready to eat you, you wake up and your heart rate is through the roof. You're sweating, you're breathing heavy, your muscles are tight. You're going through a stress event, and yet your brain didn't know it wasn't real. So this is why I think the brain is overloaded, because we have so much stress today. And the Bible in Romans 12:1 encourages us to not be conformed to this world any longer. The stress of this world. We're supposed to be renewing our minds, which that's where stress is at. Stress is in the mind. So it's important for us to do that. But let's look at what happens to the body under stress. So we already kind of said this during a dream. Your heart rate increases. Your blood pressure increases. Your respiration increases. Your muscles get tight. You're ready to fight or flight. But here's another one. Cholesterol increases. Why would cholesterol increase during stress? Well, remember, the brain doesn't know the difference between what is real and imagined. So when you're having stress, your brain thinks, okay, when we have a stress event, it could be physical, could be a disease, could be something. So we use cholesterol to heal our tissues. So the brain's saying, hey, get ready to heal something, so it raises cholesterol. And what's the medical answer right now? Well, we got to lower cholesterol. No, we have to lower stress. So, and we're going to talk about that. I'm going to give you a tip today on how you can lower your own stress levels right away, and it's free. Let's go further. So those are the things that are elevated, and there's a lot more that elevates during a stress event, but some very big things, 3 in particular, that decrease during stress. 1 is digestion, 2 is reproduction, and 3 is your immune system. Okay, why would you under stress? Remember, you're running away from a bear. It's not time to digest your food. It's not time to think about having reproductive events with your spouse. And it's not time to fight strep infection or earache or a runny nose. It's not time. So your brain makes a decision, says, all right, let's turn off digestion, turn off reproduction, turn off your immune system, because stress is requiring you to fight or flight, and you need that energy. So if you have digestive system being turned off, you're vulnerable to irritable bowel syndrome, constipation, diarrhea, diverticulitis, Crohn's disease, gluten sensitivities. Is that striking a chord with anybody? You probably need to lower your stress. Again, I'm going to give you a little tip in a minute. How about reproductive functions? Anybody suffering from infertility or miscarriages or monthly problems? How about ED? We're seeing those TV commercials everywhere, which drive me crazy. And low libido or no libido. So those are all reproductive things. And again, when you're running away from a bear, you're not going to be worried about any of that stuff. So turn it off. And your immune system. What regulates fighting cancer in your body, finding those cancer cells? Your immune system. Your immune system's supposed to go around your searching for those funny cells and eat them up and get rid of them. Well, if your immune system is asleep or turned off, cancer, it's an epidemic. What about allergies? You know, I know everybody's got an allergy of some sort, or autoimmune disorders. We could go on and on about this stuff, but I'm sure it's triggering some of your thinking right now. It's going, wow, my stress levels are kind of high, and I do have digestive, reproductive, immune problems. And I'm not saying don't go to your doctor and be treated for any of that stuff, but if you're not taking care of what's really causing the problem, the silent killer, you're just going to get sicker, okay? And we keep throwing more and more money at our healthcare, somewhere in the neighborhood of almost $5 trillion in 2024. I'm sure it's worse now, now that we're a couple years later, but it's not helping. So maybe we need to really work on our stress. Stress isn't going to go away, folks, but we have to help our bodies adapt to it. And so one of my favorite tricks is a breathing exercise. So when you're in fight or flight, your sympathetic nervous system is working overtime. We want to get into parasympathetic nervous system, which is where we rest and repair, and that's where all the good healing takes place. So one of my favorites is you breathe in for 3 seconds, you hold your breath for 3 seconds, you breathe out for 3 seconds, and hold your breath out for 3 seconds. And repeat that like 10 times. So the next time that you're in a stress event, driving, someone cuts you off, pause, renew your mind, and do 3, 3, 3, 3. Breathe. And then you'll realize, oh, I'm feeling better. You don't want to raise your heart rate, your blood pressure, and cholesterol, right? So do the breathing exercise. And or the next time that you're feeling tense, you got pain, or you're having a fight with your spouse, or you're going to reprimand your children, or you lost your job, or all these things, take a minute and do 3 breaths, hold it, let it out, hold it, do that about 10 times, and you will notice that your whole nervous system becomes parasympathetic, and you will take care of your health. So anyway, I hope you learned something, and until next time, eat smart and praise the Lord.